It's time for our player perspective on the NBA Finals, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander could be on a very exclusive list if he wins a ring here. These are the last 5 players to win MVP and a title in the same season, all current or future first ballot Hall of Famers. And with that, we welcome in former NBA player John Henson to discuss what's on the line for SGA. And John, the MVP is 4 games away from winning his first ever NBA title after 3 straight seasons of being first team All-NBA. What exactly would a title mean for him, both in terms of just the overall NBA landscape, but also in terms of OKC's history?
Yeah, I mean, it would mean a lot, and you figure, I mean, he's the guy, so he would probably get Finals MVP, which, you know, would even narrow that, make that list even kind of more legendary, because you're going to add Hakeem and Magic and Kareem and Shaq to those accolades, kind of Mount Rushmore type stuff. So it's a lot on the line for him. I don't think he notices it. I think he kind of just still, you know, playing within himself, his team, and not being distracted. But I mean, for him to be doing this type of stuff all in the same year, I mean, what more do we want from a guy at that age, right? OKC has to be just loving what they're doing right now. And SGA, he's in the driver's seat. So his success in winning this Finals, I mean, it puts him into rarefied air. And I think this is only just the beginning. I think they could win a couple more depending on who they're going to pay and, you know, the maneuvers Presti's going to do. They have the picks. They have the draft capital. They also have the young stars as well that they don't have to pay yet. So they've got a couple years left before they got to make some decisions. So this is just the beginning for SGA. I think that OKC wins this easily and he gets MVP and firmly supplants himself into the conversation as one of the best players that we've ever seen.
Yeah, it's been an amazing trajectory for him, right? Coming over from Kentucky, you know, it starts with the Clippers. They make that trade and now becomes one of the best players in the world. Now, let's say the Thunder beat the Pacers in 5 and steamrolled them. That would mean the Nuggets were the only team to force OKC beyond 5 games, let alone 6 in these playoffs. So how much more impressive does that make Jokic's performance, Nikola Jokic's performance, that is, in that series?
Well, that's what makes him so great. He forced OKC to have to play a style they didn't want to play. OKC is drastically better with either Chet or Hartenstein on the court. The splits are night and day, but they were forced to play big. They had to go play Chet and Hartenstein together, and they're just not as good when those 2 guys are on the court together. New age NBA, Chet spaces the floor. Hartenstein is not an offensive threat as much as Chet. So that just is a testament to the greatness of Nikola Jokic, almost putting the champs that are pretty much steamrolling everyone on the ropes. I mean, Aaron Gordon doesn't hurt his hamstring. Who knows what happens, right? This is Game 7. Anything could happen. So I think that making this team that is been able to beat everyone pretty handily, adjust and play how they didn't want to play, I think that's propelled them to the championship and gave them the confidence. They were like, woo, if we could beat the Nuggets, we could beat anyone. And you see right now they're playing with a lot of confidence and they're playing well.
Right. It's one of those things where, okay, sometimes in the NBA Finals or, you know, the last competition for any sport, it's like you beat that team in 5 or 4, but they're making a series of 4 where it's like, yeah, that was the real, you know, NBA Finals, okay, against the Nuggets. And I think that's possibly what we might see here between OKC and the Pacers. Now, we know Indiana is known for their high-powered offense, but it probably won't matter if SGA chops him up on the defensive end. So how should Indy look to guard SGA, who is a threat from anywhere on the floor?
You got to give him different looks. He's one of those players like the LeBrons and the Stephs where if you guard him with one guy, he's gonna study that guy. You know, usually in game 1s, he feels his you know, the opponent out, and then he just goes for the kill. So you've got to put Nesmith on him. You've got to put Nembhard on. When they put Nembhard on Brunson in the elimination game, that kind of switched it up things. Brunson wasn't necessarily ready for that. He didn't prepare to be guarded by Nembhard. So I think that's the strategy with SGA. Give him different looks, maybe double sometimes, maybe let him go, because he does shoot the mid-range, but he's so efficient that you can't just give it up like you normally would analytically on other teams or against other teams. So, hey, give him different looks and let the chips fall where they may. He's an MVP for a reason. Hopefully he misses.
Right, that's it, right? And hopefully the refs do not call a foul, because if the Pacers, you know, they want to get handsy, we know SGA, you know, he calls fouls, or he doesn't call fouls, but he has a very adept ability at drawing fouls, and that's something that bothers a lot of his opponents. Now, the Thunder enjoyed trotting out the best defense this entire season. Hasn't really changed in the postseason, John, save a few games. What stands out to you the most about how ferocious they bring the D against their opponents?
Well, if you look at it on paper, Chet didn't qualify, but they have 3 All-NBA defenders. J-Dub and Lou Dort, they got All-NBA defensive honors this year. 2 All-NBA guys, right, and SGA and Jalen Williams. And then you have Hartenstein and Chet, who are plus defenders. SGA is also a plus defender. So you have 5 plus defenders on the court at the same time at any given moment. That's a recipe for success, and why we see them kind of dominating a little bit. Barring the Nuggets series, no one has really been able to keep up with them or put them on the ropes. So that's just a testament to their draft and their mindset. But don't get it twisted. They have 3 All-NBA defensive guys on the court at the same time most times. That's going to be tough to beat. I don't care how good your offense is.
Right. I mean, they play a brand of defense that is really exceptional. And you know, people can play like, yeah, teams don't play defense, right? Well, OKC, they do that, and they do that very well. Now, you know, our friend Avery Johnson likes to call Tyrese Halliburton a waiter because he sets the table for his offense. He does so in such an elegant way. OKC's defense, though, they're hunting to flip that table up and make it messy. So how should they defend Halliburton in your eyes?
Well, Halliburton struggles against these guys in general. He's only averaged 11 points and 5.5 assists against them this year. You know, obviously over 82 games, that doesn't matter. This is a different series, a different season. But they have the bodies and they have the size. And I like to treat Halliburton like back in the day when Steven Adams was in OKC with Russ. If Russ got Steven Adams the ball, it was going to be hell for me all night. He was going to be physical. He was going to be energetic. He was going to be bullying, throwing people around. If he didn't get the ball and missed a couple shots, it was going to be an easy night for me. So you have to stop Halliburton from doing what he wants to do early, and I think that deflates the whole Pacers team. If you cut his water off early, he usually will go quiet into the night, as will this Pacer team. So the Pacers are a front-running team. It is what it is. When they get rolling, they're tough to beat. If OKC can stop that from happening, I think there's going to be a tough series. It already is going to be a tough series, but if you can stop Halliburton from converting shots early, setting the table, getting his guys going, I think the Pacers will go easy into the night, and OKC wins this series easily.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people think. Now, I think it might go 6 or 7, but whatever happens, hopefully it's just going to be exciting basketball action. John Henson, always appreciate the time, brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so, SGA, in 2 games against Tyrese Halliburton, they've won, right? And he's clearly outplayed him, averaging almost 40 points a game, 7 rebounds, almost 9 dimes. And he's shooting 56% from the field. Tyrese just 44% and 11 points per game. That's not going to get it done in the NBA Finals if you're Tyrese Halliburton.
Now for more, I'm joined by former NBA player John Henson. John, when you look back in history, that trade in the moment, it seemed like the draft capital was the headliner, but it turns out SGA was the key piece. How will this trade be viewed if the Thunder win a title this season?
Well, I went into a rabbit hole today. You know, you go in the rabbit hole and you just research, and the Thunder still haven't cashed in on all those picks. They've got 2 All-Stars out of it in Jalen Williams and SGA. And so right now, the Clippers don't even have Paul George anymore. I mean, it's a home run for the Thunder. Obviously, no one saw what SGA was going to be. However, Sam Presti making him the center of that trade, he might have had a magic crystal ball into seeing what he could become, maybe looking at his work ethic, calling around, talking about who he is as a player. And so when you look at the haul that they got, and now it's kind of null with the Clippers. The Clippers don't really have much else to show. Paul George is with 76ers now. They didn't even pay him. You've got to just look at Sam Presti as why he's got Executive of the Year multiple years and the Thunder in the finals. I don't want to say he fleeced the 76ers, but it's pretty close.
Pretty close. I mean, hey, hindsight is 20/20 when you take a look, especially in terms of trades. Another one, though, you can look back at 2024 when the Thunder decided that Josh Giddey would be better suited coming off the bench. So Giddey asked Sam Presti for a trade. The Thunder found a trade partner in Chicago. The two made a 1-for-1 deal, trading Giddey to the Bulls in exchange for Alex Caruso. Now, Caruso been one of OKC's most impactful players this postseason. What has Caruso meant to the Thunder?
I mean, he's meant a lot. I mean, at one point he was guarding Jokic, right? So, like, the fact also the Bulls are going to have to pay Josh Giddey probably $100 million plus deal. They got Caruso for $20 million a year, which is only 11% of the cap throughout the deal, which is great for a player that's going to move the needle a lot more than Josh Giddey, and they're going to have to pay him less. So money-wise and just for the trade, the Thunder win again. Now, the Bulls got a great player. Giddey averaged 14, 8, and 7 this year, shooting 37% from three. But Caruso just does more for this team and what this team needs. So that's another great move by Presti and the guys at OKC. The rich have gotten richer. And did I mention they still have all those picks they still have not used yet? And so they could go get them someone else this summer if they feel they need.
Absolutely. The picks are a key part, too. Now, the Pacers, they also benefited from trading away Paul George. In 2017, Indiana traded him to OKC for Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis. Then in 2022, the Pacers sent Sabonis to Sacramento in exchange for a package that included Tyrese Halliburton, a player who's proven to be the face of this team in the finals. How should Kings fans feel about trading Tyrese Halliburton for Domantas Sabonis?
Well, if you would have asked this last year, we would have said, the jury's still out. But right now, I think the Pacers are ahead of the game right now. 2 consecutive Eastern Conference Finals appearances, including a Finals appearance. And then the Kings were trying to decide, do we keep Fox? Do we keep Halliburton? Fox isn't even there anymore. So they lose Fox, and they just have Sabonis left. Now, Sabonis has led the NBA in rebounds all 3 years that he's been there. He's been an all-NBA, all-star caliber type player. But if you take the stats and the players and you put them aside and you look at team success, the Pacers did what they wanted to do. They got their star of the future, and they're winning at a high level. I cannot say that for the Kings at the moment. So the Pacers, as of late, have won that trade.
A lot of moving pieces here. So, John, stay with me here in this one. Stemming from that same Paul George trade from Indiana, in 2020, the Pacers flipped Victor Oladipo to Houston for Karis LeVert, a pair of second-round picks, which the Pacers packaged in exchange for a 2024 first-rounder from the Thunder, which was traded to the Raptors in January of 2024 for Pascal Siakam, this year's Eastern Conference MVP. I know it's like that board where you're connecting all the red dots, but it all dates back. It traces back. So how would you describe how much Pascal Siakam has meant to this Pacers team?
I mean, it's meant a lot because the Pacers kind of swung for that. They gave up Bruce Brown, a first-round pick, a couple other players. As you see, 3 future picks. And they got their guy, their Eastern Conference Finals MVP. So you have to say right now that they've won the trade. Now, the jury's still out on this because the Raptors flipped Brown and that first-round pick into Brandon Ingram. So I wouldn't just say the Raptors lost his trades yet. We're going to have to see what they look like next year with Barnes and Podol and those guys over there. But for now, the Pacers are in the lead, but the Raptors definitely going to have something to say. As I've said before, they flipped an all-NBA all-star from the Brown and the first-round pick to Ingram. So I wouldn't say the Raptors lost his trade yet, but right now the Pacers are ahead.
Pacers are ahead, and the Pacers are in the finals. John Henson, thank you so much for the insight. Now, the NBA Finals are set with each the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Indiana Pacers looking for their first NBA championship. Game 1 of the series Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Coming up, we get a player's perspective on this NBA Finals matchup. That's next right here on CBS Sports HQ.